There are some people who will simply speak nonsense that seems to make sense until you start to really think about it. You start to realize that, no man, this person is talking nonsense. We seem to have an abundance of grown men and women who will simply speak rubbish. But before we listen to their nonsense today, welcome to Citizen Concerned, where we remind you to beware of the comrades. I'm Katleho and would appreciate it if you subscribed to our YouTube channel, liked and shared this video with other citizens.
The dire state of patient clinical care at some public health facilities is yet again receiving public attention. This after a video of a patient, Tom London, went viral, relating his experiences and alleged poor conditions at the Helen Joseph Hospital in Johannesburg. London described the atrocious facilities and alleged that the staff treated patients like cockroaches. There are tens of thousands, if not millions, of other South Africans that have spoken out against this on a daily basis, and it seems to fall on deaf ears. But Minister, let's get your response to the latest dire patient allegations at Helen Joseph Hospital.
Well, Leanne, it all broke our hearts. It was quite disappointing. But under no conditions are we going to condemn the whole public healthcare system because of what happened in Helen Joseph.
No one said you should condemn the entire public health system. Although there are some positive things from the public health system, we cannot deny that the vast majority of our experiences as citizens have been negative.
There are millions of South Africans who have gone through our hospitals and were treated and were sent home. For instance, every year, 1,060,000 pregnant women go through our hospitals and deliver babies, most of which without any incident. So we are not going to sit here and argue that we don't have problems. We do have.
The fact that millions of people in South Africa are being treated in public hospitals does not mean that they are working well or as well as they should. Simply because we are using something as a majority does not mean we are happy with it. So according to the minister, since millions of people are being treated under public health care, please don't be so negative about it. This is a communist mindset, lacking the understanding that even if millions of women give birth at our public hospitals, it doesn't mean we as women are happy with the treatment we get there. I remember needing to take a shower in a hospital called South Rand Hospital after giving birth to my first son. The floor in the shower was flooding with sewage while my C-section was fresh. What nonsense is that for me to appreciate? Does it make me a negative person to not be satisfied with such conditions? And when I went to give birth to my second child in another public hospital, this time Far East Rand Hospital, myself and many other pregnant women had no beds, but we slept on benches, and those who came after us even slept on the floor. When it was time to bath, we only had cold water. The most horrible memory for me is the fact that while I was in the operating theatre and felt some pain from the cutting process, the anesthesiologist was sitting beside me watching videos on his phone. Because his attention was on his phone and not on me, he didn't notice that I could feel the pain, and I had to tell him repeatedly until he finally attended to me. That is not my only horrific experience at public healthcare facilities, and I know that I am not the only one. Many women have experienced this nonsense and worse. Some have been so traumatized that they have even decided to never give birth again. By the way, the traumatizing experiences are not unique to women alone. The public healthcare system has hurt men, women, and children alike. Imagine the audacity of a foolish politician trivializing our horrific experiences at places where we went expecting care and compassion. A month or so ago, I went to my local clinic, and what did I find? The ceiling has fallen in one section. Some lights don't work. Doors and taps are damaged in the toilets. Paint peeling off the walls and off the ceilings. We waited for hours for them to see my son and I for something so simple as flu. And what did they tell us? They are understaffed. When we did see the nurse, we were told that cough mixtures are no longer supplied by the clinic. We should go buy some at the pharmacy. And not everyone has some extra cash to buy some cough syrup. My question is, what are those people who cannot afford it meant to do? And from my visits at the clinic, I know that cough syrups are not the only things no longer supplied by the clinics, even if their diagnosis requires those medicines. There are millions of us going to public clinics and hospitals, but it doesn't mean we are happy about it. I have very basic medical aid, which I took out simply because of the kinds of experiences that my sons and I had. Honestly, I would be lying if I said that all staff members are horrible. While many are horrible, overworked, and uncompassionate when dealing with us, some are nice, they're decent human beings, and I have experienced them. At the same South Rand hospital, I had amazing service from the antenatal team, the birthing team, as well as the nurses and doctors who attended to me and my baby after birth. They showed genuine concern and care for both mummy and baby, and it was highly appreciated. The fact of the matter is the government needs to perform well at all times. We as citizens should not even notice you. If we notice you, then it means you are doing something either very wrong or something extremely good. Extremely good performance is too rare, and that is why it is noticeable. Very bad performance causes discomfort, inconveniences, and suffering. So even though it is too common under the leadership of the ANC clowns, it will always be noticed because discomfort is not easy to ignore.
We are not going to sit here and argue that we don't have problems. We do have. That's why we want changes. That's why we want to introduce universal health coverage so that we cover everybody financially. Because at the present moment, we are running a healthcare system whereby there are parallel healthcare systems, whereby one healthcare system is having huge resources for 14% of the population, but 86% of the population don't have those resources. Yeah. And Helen Joseph within that 86%. And that's why we want to change that system.
More nonsense from this ANC guy. I can't believe his logic. Okay, so have you noticed that the ANC and their communists have been complaining about the private healthcare system? They make it seem like it is some kind of injustice that there are people who can afford private healthcare. Imagine. What's worse is some people do not necessarily afford private healthcare, but due to the horrific experiences they had at public healthcare facilities, they chose to sacrifice something in their lives to make those monthly medical aid payments. But the comrades look at the sacrifices as injustice. You are paying for your private healthcare through medical aid or whatever method you choose, but guess what? You are also paying taxes to help fund the government, to allow the government to fund the public healthcare, among other things. The same public healthcare that these ANC fools have overseen for so long. Basically, you are funding the government to create and maintain hospitals for you, to provide you with good healthcare. But guess what? Once again, they failed to do what they're paid to do. And since they failed, you have chosen to go and pay for private healthcare. You did not stop paying taxes to help the government provide public healthcare. You have just chosen to pay more money for healthcare in the form of medical aid, and somehow you are the enemy. These ANC fools ought to be praising you, kissing you, labeling you a hero. You are a law-abiding citizen who pays taxes to fund them. You fund them, you also fund everyone else who's unemployed in this country, and you're also funding the healthcare of everyone who's getting medical treatment from the government clinics and hospitals. But still, you are the enemy. You prefer injustice. The hospitals are overcrowded, they are understaffed and offering substandard service, and you chose to leave that public hospital queue to get your healthcare from the private sector, but somehow the Comrades still managed to make you the enemy. Oh, the audacity. Basically, in the eyes of the ANC and the SACP, taxpayers, especially the taxpayers that contribute the most or those who serve as employers, are the enemy of the state. Are you middle class or striving to be in the middle class? You're the enemy. Yeah, but if I'm in the middle class, I don't need to depend as much on the government, which means the government can use the taxes to help other people better. No, you're still the enemy.
The World Health Organization has stated that if countries spend only 5% of their GDP on health, then all the people in that country ought to experience a good health outcomes, and everything will be better for the population in that particular country. We have far exceeded the 5% recommendation. We are at 8.5%. The problem, Leanne, which everybody is trying their best to run away from, is the fact that 51% of that goes to serve only 14% of the population. And the remaining 49% serves a whooping 86% of the population. Nowhere in the world do we find that state of affairs, that gross inequality. That must be taken into consideration.
This man wants to make it seem like this is your fault as a taxpayer. I mean, what do you expect? There's been no economic growth in South Africa. The performance of the economy has been poor. If the economy is poor, what happens? There'll be fewer businesses opening and there'll be more business closing. And obviously, there'll be more unemployment as a result. An increase in unemployment means a decrease in tax collection and a decrease in GDP. This man is talking about GDP as if GDP is standing on its own. South Africa has been very unproductive because of the ANC. Plus, there is serious corruption. Digital Vibes was an issue that involved one of the previous ministers of health, Zweli Mkhize. Corruption not only resulted in the loss of resources meant to serve as public healthcare facilities, but also resulted in the death of Babita Deokaran. The money that gets stolen from hospitals and other government institutions is too much. That is money that could have been hiring more doctors and nurses or maintaining the facilities, but it was stolen. Many of those who stole it have gone unpunished. The ANC has prioritized protecting the corrupt thieves instead of prioritizing the citizens needing services at the hospitals and clinics. That is a real injustice. That is a real enemy. The economy has not been growing. But guess what? We have not slowed down the making of babies. In fact, the poorest among us are the ones who are making babies more than the people that can afford it. Is the government prioritizing talks and programs to help discourage this behavior and encourage positive culture among citizens? So, we have people who are unemployed multiplying instead of decreasing. We have corruption going unpunished while whistleblowers get assassinated. We have more people who do not earn any money, and we have many people who earn far too little. And what do you expect? There are not enough people to pay tax to get the money needed to fund government institutions. We have incompetence and negligence causing medical injuries in hospitals, and this leads to millions that could have been invested in public health care being paid to medical injury victims, all on the watch of the ANC. So, what is the solution? Fix the economy. That will result in more people being employed. You can then tax those people to get money into the national treasury to pay for more government programs. But that is not enough. It is necessary to end the corruption and punish those found guilty. Otherwise, the taxes will keep going to waste. Additionally, ensure that competent people are hired in public hospitals and clinics and support them in serving the citizens and maintaining the facilities well. This ANC man fails to realize that we are really in this mess because of the fools within the ANC. Well, since he's a doctor, I'd like to believe that he's able to realize it, but unable to verbalize it, because that would make him a sellout. And oh, who wants to ever be called a sellout, right? Stay loyal to the comrades, no matter how destructive they may be. Stay loyal to the comrades who don't realize that we need to grow the economy. The comrades who want to rob the taxpayer and start talking about injustice and equality. Somehow, the comrades make it seem like those who have a slice of the pie are the problem. While really, the problem is that the pie has not been growing. Focus on growing the pie and stop blaming those who currently have a slice. The fact is, we have too many people sticking their hands in the pie, but not enough pie for everyone. So the ANC, along with others like them, think it is about taking bigger pieces of the pie from those who have created bigger pies for themselves. How about teaching all citizens how to make their own pie? Let's grow the sizes of the pies. But hey, it's the ANC we're talking about here. The ANC and its babies believe that to fix the country, you have to take away from someone else in order to give to the rest. Instead of fixing public healthcare, let's take from private healthcare. That has been tried before, has it not? At the end, it did not result in equality, justice, or better healthcare for all. No, sir. Just take a glance at history.
When I became a surgeon, I was planning to treat Lithuanian patients. People from the UK comes because of the waiting time. And also excellent quality here, of course.
Hospital waiting lists for routine operations and treatments in England
It's risen to a record high.
Horrendous. I couldn't even see how life can carry on.
One of the Prime Minister's key pledges is to reduce NHS waiting times.
I think the thought of having to wait 2 years plus would just be horrendous.
I'm on my way to Lithuania to have a hip replacement. It's a bit extreme. Probably in the ideal world I would have liked to have stayed and had it done in this country.
We've read all the papers and seen the headlines. We know that the NHS is, quote, in crisis. And there are a whole host of facts and figures about that. I mean, what figures at the moment in terms of that crisis really jump out at you?
The NHS isn't just in a crisis, it's in a polycrisis. Mm-hmm. It's across trust hospitals, mental health, primary care, social care. Every part of the system is stretched to breaking point. The figures that stand out are the ambulance handover waiting times, the length of time that patients are having to wait in A&E, the number of patients who are having to wait on waiting lists for elective surgery. I mean, every bit of it. Cancer treatments that are delayed, you name it. There's almost nothing that it doesn't have a long waiting time attached to it now.
Dear South Africans, we have grown men and women who simply speak nonsense. Don't just listen to what you hear. Think about it and you will see that while it is presented as sense, it is actually a load of nonsense that does not even deserve airtime. Don't listen to these corrupt and incompetent liars who make it seem like there's a special group of people who do not want you to have good healthcare through the NHI. We all want good healthcare, and we have all seen that public healthcare in its current state is just not it. Some people who can afford to or who can make the sacrifice have abandoned public healthcare for private healthcare. Those people will not block you from doing the same. If public healthcare improves, as they promise that it will, many of the people currently under private healthcare will jump the private ship and get into the public healthcare ship, me included. Simply because you currently cannot make the sacrifice for private, do not allow the comrades to make you resent those who can. Those fellow citizens are not the enemy. The comrades who destroyed public healthcare are the real enemies. Those comrades who made it necessary for citizens to flock towards private healthcare because of the horrific experiences they were subjected to are the real enemies. Don't get it twisted. Anyway, Thank you so much for watching. If this video was to your liking, please like and share it with someone. If you haven't already, please subscribe to the channel. I'm Katlego. This is Citizen Concerned. And until next time, beware of the comrades.